Okay, y'all, I'm about to start recording, so we got to stop acting up on here, okay? Okay, because y'all want the replay to be good. You don't want all this talking on there. Hi, if you are watching this, welcome to day one of our 5-day challenge. And this is your blueprint to real freedom through real estate investing. I am Ashley Lorraine, M.Ed. I have a 7-figure portfolio, and I did it all without bank loans, without debt, and I get to sleep like a baby at night. And I want to teach you how to do the same thing. Okay, so let's get right into it. If you were here or you are here on the live, we are going to try to be on our best behavior, but y'all know I like to have a good time. Okay. All right. So let's get into what I want to talk about for day one. In day one, I really want us to start establishing the baseline for your freedom plan. Okay. I like to call this the freedom built blueprint. Essentially, my job, my objective here is to show you how to just take one property, and that property is going to give you more freedom, more wealth than probably five combined by the next coach who's going to teach you something else. Okay. We're going to talk about different exit strategies. We're going to talk about Section 8. We're going to talk about creative finance and all of that. But I want you to know that the focus for our 5 days together is to get you free. And when I say free, I mean free from having to work a 9 to 5, free from having to worry about debt, free from not living the life that you know you really want to live. So, speaking of the life that you really want to live, I tell anybody I coach, anytime you've ever heard me speak at any kind of conference, I say, I know you're here for a business plan or you're here for a real estate blueprint, but what does all of that mean if you do not have a life plan? Okay, now my life plan is planned out up until the next 30 years. That is how focused I am on who it is that I'm becoming and the life that I want to live. And I'm not going to allow anything or anyone to distract me from the life that I know that I want. But I can have that level of conviction because I know what I want. And you'd be surprised how many people have no idea what kind of life they want. They're just kind of surviving and hanging in there. You get to pick the life that you want. And the best way to do that is what is on your heart. What is your truest desire? If you're being honest with yourself, you're not worried about judgment, what you should be doing, who said you should do what, whatever desire you have on your heart for your life. And I'm not trying to have a come to Jesus moment with anybody, but it's because God placed it there. Okay. You would not want it. You would not desire it if God didn't place it specifically with you because you are the person who can make it happen. And sometimes we get in competition with ourselves and we think that everybody desires what we desire. And so we tell ourselves it's hard, it's saturated. Everybody doesn't desire what you desire. Okay. What you desire is yours. I love a stage. I love a microphone, but I am not a Beyonce. Okay. I'm more of a Oprah or Tony Robbins. Okay. That is Beyonce's desire to get on that stage and sing and dance and do it like nobody else. And she listened. And now she does it like nobody else. Okay. Same thing with Tony Robbins and Oprah. They listened to their desire, to what was placed upon them, and they do it. And they love it and they're great at it. So you need to be honest about what it is that you truly desire. Take a moment to visualize your life. How do you honestly want it to go? Not how you think it's going to go, not the trajectory you're currently on. How do you want your life to look? I'm going to give y'all a break because y'all didn't sign up for this mindset and accountability coaching that I like to do. So I'm going to let it go, but I want you to be clear about what you want in life. If you need help with that, there's a book called Life in Air. Life in Air is a book that I highly recommend because it's going to help you break away from what you've been taught to think, which is consumerism. And it helped a lot with me. So that said, why do you want to invest in real estate? Why are you even here? Why is that important to you? How is that going to change your life? How is that going to bring you closer to what it is that you truly desire? What is it that you want? What do you want from real estate investing? A lot of things that I hear often, because I teach this often, right? I hear freedom, I hear wealth, I hear that you want to have options, right? And real estate investing is your way to get there. And I can tell you 100% Real estate investing, the way that I'm going to teach you to do it, will 100% get you freedom. It will 100% make sure that you have wealth, and it will 100% make sure that you have more income. And it's going to definitely make sure that you are full of options. You don't have to do anything. Okay. All right. So, one of the things that's going to stand out to you in life and air, and that stood out to me when I first started investing, loans. Okay. Think about what a loan is. A loan is essentially you signing a note to promise that for the next 30 years or however long that term is, you are going to work, scrape, beg, do whatever you have to make that payment to repay that loan. And it's not just for what you borrowed, you have to now pay interest on it as well. You are signing a paper. You are signing away 30 years of your life. Do you hear what I'm saying? Now, I got into real estate investing in my early 30s. Before that, I was a school principal and a teacher. So I understand time, right? I'm like, 30 years? I have to sign up to do this for 30 years with you? Even if it's 15 years, even if it's 5 years. Some of us can't get through a 20-year marriage. And we're going to sign a piece of paper and promise that if I'm sick, no matter what I'm going through, if my kids are going through something, if my parents are going through something, if I lose everything, I'm going to do whatever I have to do to make this payment for the next 30 years. Does that sound like freedom to you? It sounds like the opposite of freedom. It sounds to me like you're signing your freedom away and giving it to someone else and saying, for the next 30 years, I technically work for you. That's what a loan essentially is. Okay. And I'm not saying that debt is bad. I'm not saying that at all, but I'm saying understand what you're signing. And if you are a new investor, if you have any kind of like consumer debt, you know your spending habits better than I do. And I only can speak from a federal perspective where we have a country that's full of debt. We're not good at repaying loans. Look at the foreclosure rate, right? And once you stop paying your loans, I mean, you can pretty much hang it up. So I say that to say because you are going to have a perspective shift during our time together. And now, as a coach, whatever you want to do, I'm going to coach you towards doing that. So if you're like, I must have a loan, I must use debt, fine. I mean, 90% of the people I work with do, no problem. But me, being able to advise you and having your ear right now, I'm going to advise you to listen to what I am about to teach you. Okay. We want freedom. We want wealth. We want income and checks hitting the bank account when we don't have to do anything. One of my favorite things is when checks are hidden and I show my kids and I say, oh, look at this. How much money did mommy just make? And then I say, well, what are we doing right now? Oh, we're driving to the beach. So you mean I'm not sitting in the office? I'm not doing any work. I'm not doing anything. I'm driving in the car with you guys on the way to the beach and a check just hit because I want to start altering their mindset before the world starts to alter it. And it's the same thing when you're talking about, credit cards or car notes. Once you sign up for it, you are saying, I promise these next X amount of years, I'm going to dedicate to you. I'm not giving 30 years to anybody other than myself and my family, the people that I love. All right, so the only true path to the freedom and the wealth that I'm talking about is actually owning real estate. And it needs to be real estate that is high cash flowing. And I know whenever I say this, people get nervous, like, oh my God, I don't have $200,000 or to buy a house. I'm going to teach you the right way to do it. Please just listen. Okay. You can do this. I did it for $25,000. I'm going to show you my actual houses. I'm going to show you my actual numbers. So you can see this is not something I'm making up. This is exactly what I do. You just don't hear people talk about it because it's not sexy, right? It is not going to sell with marketing, but you have me and I'm going to show you the right way. So if you are a new investor, I'm going to suggest you do this. If you are an investor that has any kind of properties that are leveraged already with debt or mortgages, you need to listen up. You need to listen up. If you are getting started later in life, perk those ears up. Okay. If you have the opportunity to be here earlier in life before you make the mistakes and have to undo everything like a lot of us had to, perk those ears up. All right. So I'll just tell you very quickly the story I'm going to get into later on. But before I do that, I have the blueprint that I'm going to share with you. Okay. So I share this story often. One of the very first houses that I bought was $25,000. Now, I bought it from a wholesaler, and I'm going to teach you all about that. Don't worry. I bought it from a wholesaler. Long story short, the deal went really bad, and I had to learn subject to. So I had to buy that house subject to liens. So it was $0 out of pocket for acquisition, but then I had to spend about $25,000 to get the house rehabbed and rent ready for Section 8. So if you're doing the math, I'm all in at $25,000. And then I got a renter in there. At that time, I think I was only getting like $12.50 a month for it, between $12.50 and $13.50. This was like some years ago. All cash flow. And that is extremely high cash flow. Okay, that means like in 18 months, I already paid myself back the $25,000 that I had to put in there. But remember, the $25,000 doesn't just disappear. It's not like buying a purse and the money's gone. When you buy a house in cash, the cash stays in the house. It's called equity. So even though I only bought the house for $0, put $25,000 in, the house was worth $50,000. So I had instant equity. That means $50,000 just sitting in there. Plus I'm getting rents about $15,000 a year on that property. Plus I'm getting tax benefits on that property. As we talk more about these and you hear it over and over, it'll start to make sense to you. If it doesn't already have you like, oh my God, I need to do this, it's just probably because you're new to these numbers and you don't understand how good they are. Okay. Um, so I'm going to talk to you about that property. With that property, what I ended up doing is a couple of years ago, I sold it with owner financing, which is another exit that I'm going to talk to you about within our 5 days together here. Okay, so let's get into the blueprint. How do I do this? Ashley, how do I invest in real estate and how do I get true freedom? Now, again, what I'm going to teach you, you can take the red pill or the blue pill, right? What I'm going to teach you, you can do this debt-free or you can do it with a loan. I made it so that it is, whatever you decide to do, this blueprint is still going to work for you. However, I'm going to be heavy on the freedom, heavy on the true wealth, heavy on the real legacy, because leaving your kids a pile full of loans and a bunch of over-leveraged properties, that is not a prize. That is a problem. Yeah, I said it. So I'm going to teach you the A.S.H.L.E.Y method. And I feel comfortable calling it the A.S.H.L.E.Y method because I'm probably only like 5% of investors who do it this way without leveraging a bunch of debt and a bunch of mortgages and all of that stuff like that. So I'm going to call it the A.S.H.L.E.Y, A.S.H.L.E.Y. If you haven't started taking notes yet, start now. Okay, the A is for assets. Write that down. The A in A.S.H.L.E.Y is for assets. The S in A.S.H.L.E.Y is for saving is silly. The H in A.S.H.L.E.Y is for high cash flow. The L for A.S.H.L.E.Y is loans are a job. The E in A.S.H.L.E.Y is equity and employee. And the Y in A.S.H.L.E.Y is Yaris. Yes, Yaris, like the Toyota Yaris, like their probably most inexpensive car. Okay, so that is the A.S.H.L.E.Y method, A.S.H.L.E.Y, and that is asset, saving is silly, high cash flow, loans are jobs, equity and employee, and Yaris. Okay, so let's break down what each of these mean and why they're important. So let's talk about the A in A.S.H.L.E.Y, which is asset. I believe that you cannot truly call something an asset until it is making you money that is predictable and profitable. I believe that unless you actually own it, the bank owns it. So if you're not the bank, it's not an asset for you. Okay? Here's why. I'm a lender, so I'm speaking from the perspective of a lender. Let's say you have that asset and you get a mortgage on it, and it's a 30-year mortgage and you paid it for 29 years. If you don't pay it in the 30th year, what happens? It gets foreclosed on and I take it back. So you don't technically own it. You own the amount of equity that you have in it, right? I mean, kind of. You can pull it out and get another loan, like a HELOC or something like that. But I own that asset. That's an asset for me, the bank, not for you. For you, it's a liability because you're still having to pay for it. It's a liability because it's variable. What you don't think about is when you get mortgages on your assets, your insurance can still go up, your taxes can go up, and that is going to impact your payment, which is going to impact whether or not it's an asset or liability. Because the moment you have to start paying money towards it or on it, it is no longer an asset. And your assets, when I say assets, at least when you're starting out, just stick to the 50K to 100K range. Just 50K to 100K. Yes, you can use your IRA. Yes, you can use retirement. If you don't have it, save for it. Please just trust me on this one. Save for it. If you have it sitting in the bank somewhere right now, it's not making money for you anyway. So that takes me to the S in the Ashley method. So we talked about an asset. Asset is something that makes you money, that you actually own, that is predictable and profitable. Okay. Let's go into the S in Ashley, which is saving is silly. Saving is silly. This is what I love about growing up poor and then, building a life where I get to see the other side of things. The poor people and rich people have so much more in common than middle class. It's true. It's true. Poor people suck at saving, rich people suck at saving. Now they suck for different reasons, right? But they both do not prioritize saving. Rich people prioritize investing. Now, because I grew up poor, I had the mindset of, I learned like, oh, I'm not good at saving. So I got into a mindset in my early 30s where once I have enough money saved, it's going straight into an investment because you get into that emergency, that scarcity mindset. And if something comes up, okay, I'll just pull from my savings. Okay, I'll just pull it from here. And then middle class, right? Oh, you gotta have Christmas, you gotta have your yearly vacation and all of that, and you start pulling from it. So I learned for me at an early age, I am not good at saving. I am great at investing. So as soon as I have enough money to invest, it's going straight into an investment, just like all of my rich friends. It's this middle class that doesn't get it, right? But that's why everybody's making money off the middle class because the middle class is like, I'm going to save, save, save. But what are you getting on your savings account right now? What? 1%? But what's the rate of inflation right now? 2.3%. So all of the money that you have sitting in savings right now are technically losing 1.3%. You're losing money by having it in your savings account, but you don't know that, right? Because your mindset in this middle class is save, 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 save. And what you don't know is you're losing, 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 losing because inflation is beating your rate of return. I digress. Saving is silly. Get it out of your mind. If you're saving, you should be saving for an asset because then that asset becomes your savings account. That asset becomes your bank. And not only that, you get to keep whatever money you put into it, you keep it, and it still makes you money every single month. And it saves you on your taxes. This is, to me, a no-brainer. But if you're new to this, I understand it's going to take a mindset shift, and that's what I'm here to do. All right, let's talk about the H in Ashley. The H in Ashley is for high cash flow. You need to have an asset that has high cash flow if you're going to buy it in cash, especially if you're new. Here's why. That high cash flow is going to give you a buffer for other expenses. So, for the property I told you about where I was 25K all in, but it's paying me what? I'll just put 1350. That was the last amount I remember it making before I sold it with owner financing. 1350 a month. I don't have a mortgage to pay. I don't have interest to pay. So that automatically takes out the PI, the payment and interest. All I have is taxes and insurance. Now, for a house that's only $25,000, you can imagine the taxes and insurance were minuscule, very minimal, maybe $1,500 a year for both, for taxes and insurance a year. I can take one rent payment essentially and just knock out the taxes and insurance for the year. Everything else that's coming in is just straight up cash flow. And that gives me room for reserves. That means like if something happens, if something pops up, let's say I actually have to use the insurance and they want me to pay the $500 premium, cool, take it out of the cash flow. I don't care. Or buffers for, I mean, things happen. Things happen. You get a tenant in there and maybe they move out and there's a vacancy. Cool. You don't have a mortgage to pay underneath that. You don't, so it's okay. That high cash flow just gives you a buffer. So when you're in a market where you can buy for $50,000, let's say all in, 50,000, I mean all in, not some dilapidated house. That means 50K, it is ready to go, ready to get rented out. 50K to 100K. Buy it, and now you're getting this high cash flow. It's going to change everything about your mindset, especially the first year where you're like, you mean every single month this check is hitting? I'm not doing anything. I'm watching my favorite TV show. I'm out to dinner with my friends and this check is still hitting. Like that's the year you start feeling like, my God, wait a minute. So you mean I can do three more of these and supplement my income? That's where it's going to start hitting you, where you're going to start having that mindset shift. Like, I cannot believe this, but the high cash flow is what's going to do it. A lot of people make mistakes where they're leveraging all of these loans. And so it looks good on paper, they think it's nice, but then your cash flow is minimal. So if something comes up, you're always going back into your own pocket. If, you have a vacancy, you still have to pay that mortgage, whether somebody's there or not. If the taxes and insurance goes up, but you still have to make that payment and interest. And now what you get for rent is suddenly more, I'm sorry, less than what you, no, I'm sorry, what you get for rent is suddenly more than what you anticipated. And now when you go to pay that mortgage payment, you got to put some money in there with it because your taxes and insurance went up and you didn't think about that, or your HOA went up, or something, things happen. So I know the loan seems sexy. It seems like the easy way. It is not. It is not. What do they say? Anything that looks easy up front, I'm telling you, it's because the hard work is on the back end. I'm telling you, do the hard work up front. Save some money, save your coins, save your 50K. If you got to pull it out of your retirement, if you got to pull it out some other account that you have, do it because you're investing in something that is an actual asset that you own. That money doesn't disappear. It stays in the house as equity and you still get paid cash flow every single month, high cash flow. Okay. Some of you guys in your, retirements and savings, I don't know what people are getting now, what, 7%, 10%? Okay. My properties are getting me 15 to 30% returns. Even properties that I have in my retirement account, because you can do that. Now it's making that money grow faster in that account. I digress. That takes me into the L. So now we're on the L in A.S.H.L.E.Y. The L in A.S.H.L.E.Y is loans are a job. You are signing up for however long that loan is. You are promising that for X amount of years, you are going to be working and doing whatever it takes. Even if you lose your job, you're going to do whatever it takes to still make that payment every single month. I don't want to sign years of my life away promising to work. I'm trying to not work. I'm trying to get to the freedom part. I don't want to sign anything that says I have to work for 30 years. And even if I don't have a job, I still got to find a way to pay it. Why would I want to? That's not freedom. I don't want to sign up for that. That's the opposite of freedom. And then you have people on here telling you guys, yeah, get your first five properties. Now you got five loans. I didn't promise five people 30 years of my life. Okay, I can see promising one person, 30 years of my life. Cool. I can figure out a way to pay that off. Five. Some of y'all have 10, 20, 30, hundreds of properties leveraged. You done promised 100 people 30 years of your life. I'm not doing it, and I don't recommend that you do it. And I'm not saying that every property that you buy needs to be in cash. I'm not saying that at all. I'm saying at least one, just at least one. It is your foolproof plan. It is your backup plan. It is your freedom plan. So as you guys know, I invest with other people often. My own personal portfolio stays free and clear. Now, when I invest with other people, if they want to sign up for 30 years to do something, hey, your life, you sign it up, do what you got to do. And that's business. I get it. And even in the business, we still have a pattern of, for every leveraged house, we'll have one that cash flows to kind of cover ourselves and things like that. So even there, we're still doing this method. So loans, I'm telling you, as the lender, the reason why we're pushing these loans and making them so easy is because they're profitable for us and they're assets for us. Do you know what we can do with those loans on the back end once you sign? We can sell your notes. We can use your notes as leverage for other projects that we want to do because we're the actual owners. We actually own the asset. And technically, I own your time for the next 30 years. How's that feel? I own your time for the next 30 years. For the next 30 years, you better be working or doing something to make money to pay back my loan payment every single month. That's what you want. Or do you want to be the lender? Because I'm going to teach you how to do that too. I digress. The E in A.S.H.L.E.Y. So the E in the A.S.H.L.E.Y method is equity and employee. The house is going to give you two things. It's going to give you equity and it's going to give you an employee. Okay, equity, I've explained this a couple of times. When you go and buy a house, like the house I'm going to show you later, and I bought it for 25,000, or I was all in for 25,000 with the purchase and the repairs. The $25,000 doesn't just go, it's not like purchasing a liability where, okay, here's the $25,000 and I get the product or the service and that's it. No, when you buy the house for $25,000, the $25,000 stays in the house. That's called equity. And as a matter of fact, I'm going to show you these houses appreciate. So even though you might have only bought it for 25,000, right? Once you do your repairs or things like that, like I did, the house was worth $50,000 the next month because I brought it up to the standard for that area. Do you understand what I'm saying? That 25,000 does not disappear. It's still there. When I say it's still there, that means you can sell the house if you ever want to and just pull that equity out. If you ever want to decide to get a loan on it, you can do that. That's called a refinance. You can do a cash out refinance where you refinance so you get a mortgage on the house and then you pull your cash and your equity out. You can do that. That's your emergency plan. Okay, that's why I say leave one house free and clear. God forbid something happens and you need 50K real quick. Cool. I can sell this house real quick and just get 50K. Or if I just need 25K, but okay, cool, I can just refinance it and pull 25 of it out. Things happen. This is your backup plan. I went through a situation where, I went through a pretty public and nasty divorce. And, not to say too much about it, but I can just tell you one day I woke up and my bank accounts were cleaned out. All the cars were taken overnight, right? And I remember going into survival mode, like, if all else fails, if I can just get a bus ticket to one of my free and clear properties, I know I have a place where I can stay. I don't have to worry about rent or a mortgage. I own it free and clear. And if you have renters in there, right, there are some, well, it depends on what area you're renting it. I mean, leasing the house in, but if you have an emergency, you can ask for your house back and you can get your house back. Like that gave me so much peace. To this day, I walk with a certain level of confidence because I know if all else fails and I lose everything, I still have those cash properties where I can pull the equity out. I can use them in an emergency and it's mine. I own it. I don't have to pay anybody off. There is no debt on it. And also the E also stands for employee. That's the best part of an asset is giving it a job. So that house has two jobs. Number one, the house has a job of providing a housing to someone who rents it, right? So it's giving me rental income, which is great. And then I give that rental income a job. Now your rental income can have whatever job you want to give it. So that $13.50 a month that I was getting, I used mine for a car note. Even to this day, I still drive a car that is paid for by an asset. You can assign it a job. You can give it the job to pay your kids' tuition. You can give it the job to increase your savings, where it just goes to your savings account. You can give it a job to buy another house. You can give it a job to cover your utilities, or your basic living expenses. You can give it a job to cover your child support payments. I mean, whatever you want to assign it to do, it can do. And let me tell you, this is the best employee you will ever have. It doesn't talk back. It doesn't clock in late. It doesn't ask for a raise. Okay. That money just keeps coming in every month and you get to assign it to where you want it to go. And if you listened earlier about your life plan, I would suggest you assign it to something that gets you closer to your life plan. Okay. So if your life plan is I want to drive a G-Wagon. That is just what I want to do. It's something that I wanted, right? But I want freedom. I don't want to go to Mercedes-Benz and promise them the next 5 years of my life. So what I'm going to do is just take this asset that I have that's making me X amount of dollars, and it's going to be that asset's job to pay for this G-Wagon that I want, or to pay for this vacation that I want to take my kids on, or to pay for my kids' school tuition, or to pay for my retirement. I mean, the possibilities are endless. And when I talk to you individually about your blueprint, we'll talk about that. And finally, the why. The why in the A.S.H.L.E.Y method stands for Yaris. Yaris as in the Toyota Yaris. Okay. And I say this because Ferraris are sexy. So when you're doing loans and all of those things like that, think of that as a Ferrari. It's complicated, is layers to it, it's high maintenance. You really cannot make any mistakes. You get one scratch on it, that's thousands of dollars that you're gonna have to pay. Something goes wrong with the tire. I mean, listen, you have zero room for error with that Ferrari. You better be good at driving. You better have money to be able to take care of it if something happens. Okay. And not to mention all the people who are going to be trying to hit your Ferrari or get hit by your Ferrari so they can sue you, but whatever. Like, I digress. My point is, when you bought your child their first car, it was likely a cash car. Or same when your parents bought you a car, when you bought your first car, it was either a cash car or very inexpensive. And it's that way for a reason. Okay. New drivers, new investors, or even experienced drivers, right? Cash cars are going to give you just practice without penalty. You can drive that Yaris and hit a curb. It'll still keep going. You can get a scratch on the side of the Yaris. Nobody will even notice or even care that it's there. If you, I don't know, lose your job at McDonald's when you were a kid, there's no car note on the Yaris. Who cares? You get to practice on the Yaris. You get to figure out what works, what doesn't work, but it gets you from point A to point B. Okay. It gives you freedom. You sleep well at night. You don't have to worry about a car note. If something happens with the oil change, it's not like a Ferrari where you got to go and pay thousands of dollars and you can't even figure out what the oil pan is. No, you just go down to Walmart, get it fixed for a couple of dollars and call it a day. Heck, you can have your uncle come change the oil on a Yaris, right? That is what I want you to think of this is your cash car, your practice without penalty. It's like your training wheels. And then if you want to later on go to the Ferrari, cool, cool. Do that later. But your cash car, you don't need a whole bunch of money in reserves. The gas probably costs you nothing, hardly. If you're not attached to it, if you got to ride with a donut for a little bit, no one cares because it's a Yaris. Okay? You can't ride a donut on a Ferrari. All right. So anyway, I covered the A.S.H.L.E.Y method, A.S.H.L.E.Y. That is assets, saving is silly, high cash flow, loans are jobs, equity and employee, and Yaris. So this should be the foundation of your freedom. I only have a couple more minutes here, and I want to show you an example of what I'm talking about. I want to show you an actual property that I bought. We will deep dive into this property. I will show you all of the back end stuff. So don't worry about it. So when I'm telling you, and we'll get into market research, trust me, this is only day one. We got a lot to cover. All right. So when I'm telling you can buy houses for 50K, I'm not kidding. So this is one of the markets that I invest in. All of these are under 50K. Okay. And these aren't like falling down, barely making it houses. Like these are houses that you literally can clean up and get rented by the end of the month. Okay. And even if you buy these houses, like these little $16,000 houses that need work, great. Okay, one of the best things about working with me is you have access to my ecosystem. That means my team. My team includes general contractors. Their secret sauce. The secret sauce that they give me for my company is that I'm able to buy these houses for 16,000 because I know my construction crew is cold. So I know for 25,000, 30,000, they're going to make this house look like the best house you have ever seen. It's going to pass Section 8 standards. And then I'm all in for what, $46,000 in cash. Okay. And this is a 4-bedroom. Now, when I look over here and I'm looking up, okay, how much money is that going to give me per month? And that's a 4-bedroom. This is showing you. This is showing you. All right. So this is totally doable. This is absolutely what you should be doing. And I'm going to show you how to do it. I'm going to show you how to do it because We all need some freedom. Every family, every business, every investor needs at least one, just one cash house, because it's going to be covering you over so many things that you can't foresee yet because either you're new or you're still pretty much over leveraged and you're not really experiencing what high cash flow can do. So with my crew, when you're working with me, we want these little ugly houses. Bring them, okay? That's the power of my crew. You get my crew when you get me. You get my ecosystem. All right, so let me show you the exact house I was talking to you about. So this house, I told you I sold it with owner financing a couple of years ago. But when I first bought this house, I bought it for $0. Dang, I bought it so long ago, you can't even see it on here. That's a dang on shame. I've been doing this for so long. But anyway, when I bought it, I was 25K all in. Oh, they took the pictures down. I used to have pictures up here. 25K all in. Here the estimate is 1548, but honestly, we're getting about 1350 per month for this property. Section 8, so my rents are guaranteed. I'm not worried about people in and out. And even if people are in and out, I own it in cash. I don't have a mortgage on it, so I don't care. But I'm glad that I do have stable renters with the Section 8 program. And then you see now that this house is now worth $88,000. Okay, on the low estimate is 69. So that means I was all in at 25. Again, that 25 doesn't disappear, it just turns into equity. The house appreciated now. Let's say if the low, $69,000, I'm all in at 25. So what's that? 35, 45, 55, 65. That's what, like $45,000 in equity. Like, do you hear what I'm telling you? So I get all of my money back that I invested times almost three. When I sold it for $50,000, I sold it with owner financing. I'm not going to go there because I'm gonna say that can get a little complicated. I'll go into that later on in the time. But my point is, I bought this house in cash. I rehabbed it in cash, and look what it's worth. Now I didn't even go to the high of what I could sell it for, right? And you can check it here. You can look up, like literally look up the rents. I'm on HUDuser.gov. You can just look up FMR GOV or FMR HUD. Just Google it and it should pop right up. And you can look by zip code. So there's one we just bought the other day in this zip code. Same thing in cash. We're making 15, 20 a month on it. Do you hear what I'm saying? There is no mortgage. There is no interest that I'm paying on it. That all goes into my pocket. Okay, think about what you would do with the extra 15, 20 per month. And the last thing I want to hear you say is, well, I spent 50K. You did not spend 50K. You deposited 50K into a house that is now your savings account, that is now your bank, that is paying you 15 to 30% returns every single month on it. You can pull that out whenever you want to. You can sell it tomorrow if you want to. So the money doesn't disappear. It is literally just in like a holding account, a savings account that you own because you're the bank now. The house is your bank. Okay. And you're making this 15, 20 a month. And I want you to seriously stop right now what you're doing. And I want you to think about what would you do with the extra $1,500 per month? What would you do? What job would you give it? If I had another $1,500 a month, if I'm being fully transparent right now, as a single mom, I would definitely want to use that to send all of my kids to this private school that I love. Like I would assign that to send my kids to this really good private school that I know is best for them. This could also be a payment, for if I want a nicer car and upgrade my little car, the 15, 20 could do it. If I just wanted to supplement my income and say, you know what, I'm gonna work a little less from now on, I could give it that job. Or if I say, you know what, I'm building my real estate investing empire right now. This is actually something that I did. I'm building my real estate investor empire right now. This is going to cover an extra nanny, or this is going to cover laundry service or a maid coming in. That way my time can be focused on building this business and spending time with my family, and I can have things in the household being taken care of by someone else. I am so curious to know. I can't wait to get to talk to you about your blueprint and see where you're going to put your extra money. And that $1,500 a month translates to what, 20,000 a year? Something like that. I don't have my calculator. What are you going to do with the extra 20,000 a year? I mean, that's more than most people get in a raise per year. And mind you, that's the money you invested is still there for you to use or take out at any time if you want to or need to or not. Okay, I'm going to stop preaching. I'm going to stop preaching. I'm going to let you guys go. So if you got nothing else from this meeting, what I hope you got was two things. Number one, be clear about your life plan. What kind of life do you want? And we're going to use that to create your freedom built plan, your blueprint. Get clear on what you want. And the second thing I really want you to consider is the Ashley method. Just one can change your entire life. Just one, because it's going to change the way you think. It's going to change your mindset. It's going to change the way you attract money. When you see money just hitting your account every single month from one house that you bought years ago that you'll probably forget about at some point, and that check just keeps hitting. It's going to change your relationship with money. It's going to change. It's just going to change who you are as a human and as a person. So, day one, get clear on what you want, get clear on your true desires, get clear on your life plan. Think about what I told you with the Ashley method, A.S.H.L.E.Y. And I will see you guys tomorrow for day two. You know, I love hearing your feedback. So send me a video, email, text, anything. I just want to hear your impressions on day one, what your thoughts are about it. And I'll be seeing you guys if you signed up for the coaching session. I'll be seeing you soon and we'll be discussing how to get your life plan ready to go. So if nothing else, remember, investing is as easy as A, B, C, okay? First, you need to get an Ashley, then you need to get her blueprint, and you need to get her coaching. I'll see you guys on day two.